Let's talk about your OG YouTube days. I feel like a good bit of drama back then. Like when you look back at the OG YouTube days, how do you feel about them and how would you even describe them?
It's like so many eras of YouTube too. The OG ones were just like so great before you could make money on YouTube. It was just like fun. And then you start making money and then it's like, where do you find your niche? Like I said, I never felt like I had like talent. So I was like, what can I do? Oh, I can like piss people off. I can do this. So I definitely went like the trolling route because it was like the most money I ever made without having to like strip or hook. This is it, you know? I definitely had a lot of like problematic videos and just stuff that like I didn't necessarily even think. And I would just like repeat it. I just wanted to be shocking and like I totally own up to it. And I look back at my videos and I'm like, well, you know, some of them are pretty bad, but I try to give myself grace and forgiveness with that because I used to be really hard on myself. I'm like, I know I suck, I'm problematic. And to this day, like I don't get sponsors on my podcast. Like shout out to our Patreon, like our Patreons do it and stuff. So it's, you know, it's great. But yeah, I definitely forever have like this like mark on me on the internet of like kind of like, she's a little controversial or, you know, you just, people don't want you like around. But, you know, it's fine. Like my word of wise to people when I see people trolling now on the internet is like, just maybe don't because it'll like follow you forever. People will think of you as that forever. And rightfully so. Like, you know, like those clips will always be out there and people either see the change and the growth or they don't. And I think either one you just have to like live with, you know.
But I do think it's helpful that you're like explaining your backstory. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it today because it's like, for sure. I bet I'll get comments being like, why the fuck are you having Trisha Paytas on? Like, I totally understand that. I also, though, think it's important. Like the fact that you just said, like, I could make more money doing this than stripping and hooking. It's good to know someone's backstory. Usually the people that are saying those things, you're not in a great place.
I didn't care about me. I didn't think anything of the future. I need to make money now. I'm just going to piss people off. I don't care. I don't have friends for a reason. Never thinking like it would be a full career.
That's what I also think sometimes, like, people feel like they're lucky because they can make their fake accounts. There are people on the internet that are so ruthless, but they don't have the balls to do it publicly and have their own name on it. If all of your comments were placed on your own desk, would you be fired or not? And all of those people are not in a good place. And clearly you weren't either. Yeah. And you've kind of had this like redemption arc. Do you think you were addicted to the drama once you started to see the money?
Oh, yeah. Good like years. I was so addicted. I was just so miserable. So like any attention was good attention. Money was just money. You know what I mean? So it just did reap the karmatic, you know, effects of it all. So it does, like you said, even the trolls, karma was so real. And like I've reaped all of that 10 times over, I'm sure, and still do to this day. We get a sponsor and like everyone harasses them. Like, don't, at this point I'm like, don't even give us sponsorships because I just know that so it's fine. Luckily I have my ways to make money. But
why do you think though second chances are so important?
Because I think people do like change. I think majority of humans evolve as human beings, especially when you get older, when you find happiness, when you find love. Like, you mean, people do change. And I think like that's the whole point of humanity, right? Is like the evolution of it all. Like, I think our society shows that, like, you know, from like us in like the 60s, you know, with like segregation stuff, you know, I think it's like just shown like obviously people are change. Yeah. So I think that's important. Otherwise you never can grow. So I'm appreciative of all of them. Yeah. Some people don't deserve them. Some people don't want to give them to you, but I do think it's important to like try to see people changing. Yeah. Because I really think people do.
It's really difficult on the internet when you have a persona that sometimes I've met people and they're like, oh my gosh, like I thought you were going to be such a bitch. And I'm like, oh, like, I mean, I don't know. You can be honest, like what you thought of before you met me.
Yeah. Cause you just hear all the stuff, right? You hear all the drama. And so you're just like, wow, she's a ruthless. She's this. And you know, not to say I don't judge because obviously I know how people take things, but you hear those things or just how you think someone's just going to be arrogant or whatever. Cause you have all this like money and you're sketty and you're pretty. So you're like, well, you just know, you know, I think you have the assumptions. Again, at this age, the energy you have is just so different than like people would think. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate you saying that. We see people online and most of the time we never get to meet these people in person. There's a image online that people will like assume of you and it's hard to break away from that. The way that I got through it was like, I know the truth and I know what happened. I feel like I can go to sleep and I'm a good person and I have good people around me and like, and if I'm good with my life off the internet, I think then I did become a better version of myself on the internet. When all you are looking for is validation from the internet, second chances, you're right, are important. Because like I'm so proud of the growth that I've had. And I know you feel the same way about yourself of like, of course we've changed. Now, like when you have things you care about everything is put in perspective.
Oh, now it's like, oh, I don't want to embarrass my husband. I really do feel it. And I'm like, people can see it or they don't see it. I don't care because I feel better. But it does feel, especially right now, that people have like seen it. And it's not me saying I've changed this. You know, it just took time. You know, I think with anything, public feuds, you know, there's always sides that people pick without knowing the full truth. And it's just like getting through that. And it doesn't really matter what people think, you know, about it. It's like, some people are going to think I'm this person.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you know who you are.
Yeah.